Patty. Hello, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. What would you like to discuss today?
I am feeling a little anxious. So after the semester is over, I have booked 2 days at a hotel, just in case, like fancy hotel in Kansas City. I'm not leaving the city, but just to like get away. I'm super stressed. I've never been away from my baby. He's 11 months old, and school and work. And my husband and I decided like it's time for me to like get a little vacation, like a mini vacation. So I booked a trip or 2 days at this like swanky hotel, and I'm very excited about it, and I think about it a lot. I'm like very ready and in need of this, but I'm feeling really anxious because I've never left my son, and I'm anxious just about leaving him. I'm anxious about like how my husband will be able to handle it and like manage it. I think I feel, well, I'll stop there, but that's why I came
Yeah, the first time leaving your little one can be a little anxiety inducing.
in.
And it sounds as though you might be a little unsure of how things will go with just the baby and just dad.
Yeah, I think that's right. Like, I think this is probably common, but I'm the primary caretaker. My husband, his name's Anthony. He's a great dad and he's an equal partner. But it's just like that's just the way it's naturally happened in our relationship. That I do more of the baby stuff. He does more of like everything else. He does groceries and laundry and all the stuff, and I'm like on baby duty most of the time. It's just like that's what works for us and is natural for us. And so we just have, we have routines, and this is the way I do it, this is the way I put him to sleep, and this is the way it happens. And they do things differently, and he takes care of him and does his nighttime routine and stuff like when I'm in school. And it's not like he never does this stuff, but when I get glimpses of the way that he does things, they're just different than the way that I do things. And I know it's fine, but it's not as good. And I'm joking when I say that, but I'm kind of like not joking. Like I obviously have a preferred way to do it, but also like, everything can't be my way, and I shouldn't micromanage the relationship, I don't think. So this is where I'm just sort of like, I'm anxious, but I know it'll be fine, but it's still not like reducing my anxiety,
I understand. When you say micromanage, do you feel like it's micromanaging to have a preference in how child rearing goes?
What a good question. No, I don't think it's micromanaging to have a preference. I think it's micromanaging maybe to like force my preference on my husband when he has his own preferences for how to do things. This happened just tonight, actually. We were doing the bedtime routine, and when he does bedtime, I still go in and kind of hang out and like help get jammies on and stuff, and do a little like good night, and then give my son over. And so I like see how he kind of does stuff, and I don't know, he had like all the lights on, and he was reading a book really loud, and I was like, maybe we should like bring it down. Like he's tired. Like let's calm the energy, and he did. But sometimes I'm just like, it's fine. I know my son is fine, but I'm also like, is he clueless about how to take care of a baby? But to answer your question, no, I don't think it's micromanaging to have a preference. But I do worry about how much I might be encroaching like on their relationship maybe.
So just want to make sure I understand. You're getting ready to take a little vacation for yourself, kind of regroup, and baby's going to be with dad. And there's a certain way that you like or prefer to do parenting, and especially the nighttime routine. And dad has a different way of doing the nighttime routine. Does that sound about where we are?
Yeah, and he just has like a different way of doing a lot of things. But in reality, aside from the nighttime routine, because that is like a specific, like very, like, I do kind of like things a certain way, but he is much more playful. Like, I'm playful, I'll play with him, but my husband like will like wrestle with him and like, you know, do a lot of the like that kind of stuff, and he loves it. I mean, I cannot make my son laugh the way my husband does. Like, he just squeals and squeals and squeals, and so a lot of the way that he does things is really good. You know, it's not that everything I do is better, but he's never been alone with him for this long. I have been alone with him for this long. My husband's traveled for like weekends at a time, and I've taken my son to my parents' house too without him, and so yeah, I guess I just like worry that it's not just my son, I worry about my husband getting overwhelmed because he can just be such a handful. Not my husband, my son.
I understand. Let's explore some of that worry. You've spoken about worry on both ends for how your husband will be able to respond and cope in the time that you're gone, and then the worry of how will your son respond without mom involved. What are some things that you might actually worry about?
I guess I worry that my son's going to be just a huge handful, and it's just going to be like a miserable experience for my husband. And honestly, like, I'm not sure. I worry about it, and I think I feel a lot of guilt around that. But there's a part of me that's like, should I care? You know, like, this is parenting, and sometimes you have to be alone, and I have to do it. And this isn't the 1950s, you know, and so he has to too. And he's for it, you know, none of this is like coming from him. But I feel guilt a lot when it comes to like my role, and if I'm not being the primary caretaker, I feel guilt, I think.
I'm sensing a little bit of stress even within that guilt as I watched your laughter and body language change a little.
Yeah, I can feel my shoulders like way up here.
What would you say if there were a way to pinpoint it? What would be the guilty thing that you feel in relation to your son and your husband having that time together, even though you've discussed that it's a good thing, but also there's some hesitation even in that good thing. So what would be, if there were just one thing, what is that guilt? What does it feel like to you?
I feel like there's just this like deeply rooted expectation I have of myself that I am always taking care of him. And it's when I'm not, and it's nobody else, right? Like, nobody's saying this to me, but when I'm not, I often feel like, oh, well, I need to. Like, I don't give myself a break from him. Like, I don't know why. I just, I don't know. It feels like, I actually have a physical feeling as I'm thinking about this. It's like in my like soul. It's like in the center of my body. This idea that like it is my responsibility, and somehow, even though logically I know it's also my husband's responsibility, and he says that and he wants that, I don't think I emotionally feel that. I emotionally feel that it's mine.
It's good that you could point out that it's not just the mental, that there's also an emotional, but even that you did like this means there's probably some physical there in what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Have you perhaps tried looking at the other side of this guilt, and do you think there's an expectation or something from your husband Or is he looking at this, again, this is just suppose, is he maybe looking at this like a privilege to be able to have his wife go out, relax, and he says, I'm going to take care, and we're going to have some memories to share with you.
I don't know if he's looking at it like a privilege. He does not express that expectation that I just talked about for sure. But I think another part of the guilt, I have wide-ranging guilt over everything in my own life. And so part of it is that I think I feel like I have to be taking care of myself all the time. But another part of it is that I recognize that feeling and actions associated with that could actually impede my husband's ability to like bond with my son and his son, you know, and like I don't want to get in the way of like his parenting and their relationship when it's actually totally fine, even if it's not the way I would do it. And so I think I feel guilt about that too. I feel guilt that I have these expectations in the first place. Man, life is hard.
Yes, you are correct. Life can be hard. Life can be challenging. And as we move into different phases of life, those challenges almost seem to magnify.
Yeah, that's for sure.
The thing I noticed just now, that even with your body language and the laughter not exactly matching up, it's that you are able to acknowledge that the guilt is not just here, but it's, you said, wide ranging. And so I'm wondering, is that something that you think will kind of progress as time goes on, or do you think that maybe it's just this time in life?
I think guilt around, well, I don't really know what it's like to have older kids, but I think guilt around my son right now, I mean, he's still a little baby, and I think that I'm in this like really intense time, right, where you first start having kids and you're figuring out the routine and you're figuring everything out, and having kids like completely impacts your marriage, you know, good or bad. Like there's just a lot to figure out between two people, and I think that I probably do have more guilt, at least around my kid, than I will in the future. I've always struggled with guilt like my whole life, and I think as I age it goes away, like for a lot of, like I lose a lot of that because you just stop caring about stuff. So I mean, when you get older, you kind of just like, you just stop caring about stuff sometimes, or caring what people think, or what, you know, whatever. And that's like such a slow progression. And I've noticed that happening. But then like new experiences happen, like having kids, that bring this whole other wave of guilt in. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, I don't know if it'll go away. I don't think it'll get more intense. It could just change depending on what's going on in life, I guess. But my hope is that once, you know, kids are older, more independent, like a lot of that dies down. But I don't really know what it's like to have older kids either, so.
Let's circle back to going on your trip, your relaxation. What are you hoping to get out of your weekend?
I think this weekend is so important to me. I literally fantasize about it, and I plan to get a massage and lay at the pool and read. And the biggest thing that I think about is sleeping in 2 mornings I get to sleep in, and that feels like such a luxury. And just like, I do think I'll like miss my son in the evenings, like around bedtime. Like I'll just be aware that like I haven't seen him all day, and I hate days where he's in daycare all day and then I have class right away and I really like barely see him. So 2 days away I think it's gonna be a little tough, but overall like this, regardless of guilt or anxiety, I know how important this is for my mental health. like, it's not just getting away from my son, but just like, I have an intense job, school is intense, you know what I mean? There's just so much in life right now, and to just give myself 2 days just feels, I almost said it feels luxurious, but it actually feels like critical to my health. And so, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if I feel anxious. Like, I'm absolutely going, and I'm gonna like really enjoy it, you know. But I do hope that I can go into it with a little less anxiety. And actually, talking through this, I'm already feeling a little less anxious, especially in thinking about like how much my son laughs with my husband. He doesn't do that with me, and it, like, you know what I mean. And it feels good. I feel good that I'm leaving him with someone who like he enjoys so much.
Definitely.
Yeah, it feels good.
Well, I am happy that you are going to get this opportunity, and you made a great observation about yourself, stating that this is for your mental health and that you're going to take time to enjoy it. You're going to, you have some things you plan to do. You're going to read, sit by the pool, and of course, getting sleep is always a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely glad that that's going to be a thing.
Thank you. I am so excited. Yeah. Similarly, my son's, can I switch gears a little bit?
Please.
My son's daycare teacher, so he's in daycare. He's been there like 5 or 6 months, 5 months, and we love it. And we were, you know, I was so, of course, so nervous always to go to like the first daycare experience, whatever, but his teachers have been just incredible. Well, one of them is leaving, and kind of a similar vein, I feel great when he's at daycare. He knows the routine, he's so happy, he loves his teachers, we love his teachers. I don't even think about it when he's there. But he's getting a new teacher, we don't know her. She's already started, and he cries when we hand him to her in the morning. Like, not a ton, but it doesn't like feel good, and it's given me some of that same anxiety of like, is he being taken care of? Is he okay? You know?
Yeah.
Is she doing things differently and he doesn't like that, he doesn't know what's going on? Is that okay? You know, he's a kid, he should be flexible, but so this extends, I guess, beyond, you know, my husband.
It's definitely okay, because that can cause a different kind of anxiety. From one, when you were saying what you're going to do, which is leave for a weekend, and now we're talking about school changes. So the anxiety piece for you would be understandable, especially to see your son reacting differently when he's taken down to school, to daycare.
Yeah, I'm just so used to him. He loved that teacher that left too. I think we were just so attached to her, you know? And so part of it is like, I don't know that anybody can be as good as her, like in our minds kind of thing. Like, she was his first teacher, and she just loved him so much, and we all loved her, and we're just attached. But it's such a different reaction, and it's hard when you drop off your kid at daycare or school or whatever, and they're unhappy, and you have to leave them there, and that feels bad. At the same time, there's 2 teachers, because like ratio at daycares and stuff, and we love his other teacher, and she's still there, and she's like, he cries for like a second until he gets his little breakfast, and then he's great, and you know, he's happy the rest of the day, and there really hasn't been any behavioral change for him, I guess, except for that like moment in the morning. And he does have a little stranger danger just in general. So maybe there's an element of just needing to get used to this new teacher. Oh man, babies really rock your world.
Yes, they do. That sigh that you just let out there, it seemed like that was heavy on you.
I think there's just I'm just like having a recognition that this is just always gonna happen, right? Like we always want our kids to just like have everything they need and to be happy and content and whatever. And there's always gonna be like disruptions in their life that don't feel good, but it's just a part of life. And like, I don't know. I'm just thinking about this in like the bigger picture of like, it's daycare. It's a new teacher. He's probably fine. I don't like the way it feels when we drop him off right now, but I also don't want to cater to him constantly throughout his life and have him never have adversity and learn coping skills, you know? So, yeah, I think just talking about this is helping me put it into perspective a little bit of like, these are regular life changes, and he's a human and he has to go through life the same as we all did. I guess. Even if that's not what I want.
You're handling it as best as you can and acknowledging that there are difficulties on your end, there's difficulties on your son's end, and it's just something that I see you working through very well. Just want to make sure that I heard everything the way that you said it. You know, we went and we discussed having to do with taking your vacation and the anxiety that comes with that. And then dad does things a little different than mom does things, and the anxieties that come behind that. And now with your son going to daycare and a new teacher, it sounds like there's just a few things in life that are moving in ways that are uneasy right now.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I'm also hearing that you are taking them, and I don't want to say enjoying all parts of them, but you are managing them.
Yeah, I think I am. Things could be worse, that's for sure.
Well, Patty, we're coming up on time. And so I want to thank you for talking with me today, and we can see each other next week.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you so much.
Yay!
Time.